every time I want to say Sonic Frontiers, I'm so close to saying Sonic Forces just because I've been saying that for the last however many years.
Yeah, that
It's
sounds about
annoying
right.
me. But so we've both finished Sonic Frontiers,
Indeed, we have.
and we'll just talk about it. I guess we should say that like at the very beginning there will be spoilers.
A
So
lot of them.
yeah.
I'm about to go off.
Cool. All right. Well, yeah, we're just gonna talk about the game. I wouldn't call it a review, just a discussion. But yeah,
Yeah.
so I really liked it.
I loved this game.
Yeah, it was really fun. It had no right to be as fun as it was because
It really didn't.
I have been referring to this game throughout the entire thing, and you might see where I'm coming from. You might not. It feels like a ROM hack.
Yes. No, it feels like a fan game. I was going to mention that later.
Yeah.
Like, it
Yeah.
straight up is like this weird love letter mishmash of just great mechanics they kind of stole from other games that someone from the fan community would have put together. And I think that's why I liked it as much as I did.
Yeah, because like it's the fact that there are just floating platforms literally everywhere.
Mhm.
Obviously makes no sense.
Exactly.
And in any other Sonic game, with like notable exceptions, that would not be okay. It would just
Basically.
be weird for that to like. I mean, obviously we've had like stuff like okay, here's there's like a floating platform moves up and down, that whatever. But like these are just like they're just here everywhere, and it just feels very strange. But it
Right.
works. It works so well, and I love it. I love it so much.
It works so well because that environment's been conducive to Sonic since the Adventure days. If you played Adventure 2, or if you were someone that's been around for that long, you remember that there's just platforms and rails sitting around the arc, and while they kind of tailored it to those levels, this one is a massive open world that's all kind of intertwined in one big overall level, and I think that's why it did as well as it did in kind of melding that together.
Yeah. No, it's fascinating because I haven't played much of Adventure and Adventure 2. I've played, I don't know, like let's say 6-7 levels of both. Like I've really not played much.
Right.
Which is, I know it's scandalous. I need to play them at some point.
Right.
Genuinely, my plan for it is because you streamed a while back. A mod where all the dialogue is switched around.
Yep.
For every line. I am tempted to do a randomizer of that because I know the story more or less, but I thought, my first playthrough should just be the most broken thing ever. I don't need to know how to play. I know how to play Sonic. It'll be fine.
Exactly. To be fair, if anyone remembers the story from those, it's kind of aged like fine milk at this point. So the story doesn't matter. It really is about the game and how you feel with it. So go right for it. I support this.
Yeah. Okay. Random tangent. Doesn't like Robotnik blow up the moon or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Robotnik.
That didn't stay blown up though, did it?
No, it didn't, because here's the thing. You saw in I was about to call it Forces 2, god damn it.
Yeah.
In Frontiers, that the moon is completely whole. This is supposedly the exact same Earth, and they make constant references to all of the old games for continuity's sake. I don't know if you caught that.
Yes, I did love that. That was really great.
I loved it. They did it so much in the side stories. The one or two references, fine, but I feel like when we got to Chaos Island with Tails, this is where the spoilers start, by the way. Tails was constantly referencing, like, oh, here's Lost Worlds reference, here's Adventure 2 reference, here's the Adventure reference when he was taking down Station Square. Sonic came in with all of that stuff. Like, it almost became too much. The inner Sonic fan in me, who's been a fan for God knows how long, was just giggling like an idiot.
Yeah.
But it also made me think, this might not be fully approachable for people that are completely new to the series.
Yeah, one of my favorite references was because I love Unleashed. It was just like, this has like something along the lines of, it's got as much power as Dark Gaia. It's like, yes, you mentioned Gaia. That's what I'm talking about. It's so good.
The reference that got me was completely unexpected. The final island, one of the last Sage side stories that you get. Sonic says, let's do it to it. That has no bearing to anyone except whoever is a fan of the Sad AM.
Yeah.
And that is the only other time I think he's ever said it. So thank God Ian Flynn was in charge of the writing here.
Yeah, it was great. I love that kind of thing. It was fantastic.
Holy crap.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so you are probably the same. I think everyone probably shares this experience unless you're a speedrunner or you are really not having a good time as a reviewer and you are desperate for it to end.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you gave it a 2 out of 10. You insane person.
Yeah.
But I felt like I was a dog getting distracted. I was just like, oh look,
Yes.
I've got to go over here. This is where the Chaos Emerald is. Oh, but there's a thing right there. Let's get that.
There was so much to do, and I liked that fact. It did become linear after I got used to it. The first 2 islands was like, there is so much, I need to go figure everything out, and it was a dog getting lost. Chaos Island made it a little bit more straightforward, but I finally figured out, okay, if I'm going to get the emeralds, I have to get the keys. If I have to get the keys, I'm going to have to go and do the side missions. If I do the side missions, I got to get the gears. To get the gears, I got to defeat, or I got to go fish. I got to, like, there's at least a pathing there. Once you figured that out, it became much easier to figure out, and I felt more comfortable messing about and just going to get the other collectibles.
Yeah. But I still was just like, right, I need to go over there. I have to go over there. This is how I progress. Oh, but this is a
shiny thing.
This is a thing right here. And or what can also happen is, right, go straight forward, I'll get to the thing. Oh, there's a jump pad. Oh god, it's taking me somewhere. Yeah. Oh god, I didn't know that was there. Oh, I've gone so far away. Oh, but I collected the thing. Yay.
And the other thing is that those free float, if you got caught up in a spring or a speed boost pad, you finished that entire progression, you got the memory, and it led you almost directly into another one. It was just so natural to flow.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting how well designed that aspect of it was, because it as you say, it did free flow really well. Like everything led into each other more or less. And yeah, I can't imagine how difficult it was. I didn't actually see how many level designers there were, because you need presumably a lot of people so that you could create loads of different types of platforming challenge, because it really is just loads of little snippets, and one person can't come up with the presumably 1,000 that are in the game.
It was so freaking many. Like it's basically every memory has its own mini platforming portion of it, right?
Yeah.
So I'll go ahead and look that up in the background, but
I mean, I don't know if there's like a direct way to count how many, because you can collect more memories or medals or whatever, like more than are in like the world, because you can get them via fishing or you can get them from enemies and stuff. Right. So I don't know.
So that was the other one is on Kronos Island, I collected all the overworld memories, right? All the ones that are marked on the map. And after I collected the last of those, Big would no longer sell me any of the memories.
Oh, okay, interesting.
So I have a feeling there is some sort of cap. That it makes me want to go back and kind of 100% complete it, but also there's so many fucking memories on the overworld. So
yeah, no, I didn't do that. I got the platinum trophy, but I didn't do every single memory. Because the thing is, so with me, I've got 4 games on the go. For a YouTube channel where I need to put them all out. So I was just like, right, the final one. It's like, okay, I'm going for the Chaos Emeralds. Let's do this. I got the Chaos Emeralds. Like, cool, right? How many memories? 190. Oh lord. So I was like, well, I conveniently have so many coins still. I'm just gonna go fishing and get a bunch. And I got to like 175. I got like 100 or so from the fishing. I was like, right, let's just get the last 15. There's a whole island left to explore. Let's go. Yep. So yeah, it didn't take long. And I mean, if I went for the 100 that I bought via fishing, it wouldn't have taken that long anyway. Probably like an hour, maybe an hour and a half. But I was just like, no, I've got loads of God of War to play as well. So.
Right, and that was the part that I was trying to speed through to avoid spoilers as well, because we'll probably talk about the story, but the story had me hooked. And if I got spoiled on anything, I was going to cry. So I need to get through that quickly, avoid social media, all that fun stuff. And that put that pressure on me to be really into it, playing it. And I didn't want it to be extended by hours just running around doing collectibles, getting tired of the world. I wanted to enjoy it.
Yeah, that's fair. I wanna see if we had the same feeling about the best and worst bit of the game, in our opinion. So I'm going to say 3, 2, 1, and then on go, we will, or I won't say go, but on that beat, we will say what we think the worst bit of the game was. Okay.
All right. And by worst bit, do you mean gameplay, story? Like, is there anything
at all? Anything that you think was the worst, there's a very real possibility we might not. I don't know if we'll share it because it depends on how much of it you did, but we'll see. All right, 3, 2, 1. Trading in
Side
Cocos.
missions.
Oh, okay.
So the Cocos, because I did so much fishing and just running around and doing the lottery, I just straight up bought all of the Cocos.
Yes, but I mean specifically trading them in.
Oh, yeah, no, that part sucked. That part is still awful, and it's a reason I didn't do it.
I don't get why they didn't have a like with when you're trading in the defense and attack, that just goes up to the next level. You trade them all in one go, and I understand that you want to pick which one you want, speed or rings. I understand that, but why couldn't you have like a dial that you choose how many?
Right.
Because it's always consistently 12. It never goes up more at any point. So all you need is 2,400 Cocos, and you're done for the entire game basically.
Yeah.
And I just before like the final boss was at level 16, 17 on both of them, and I had enough Cocos, and it took me, I'm not joking, and I watched a YouTube video while I did it, 30 minutes to upgrade 160 levels. Because the menu's slow as well, it's not even fast.
I was about to say.
Oh, it took so long. They are 100% going to patch that. People are not going to like it.
If they don't patch it, there will be a mod out. I guarantee it. That's why I got it on PC.
Yeah, 100%. I do not have it on PC. But, there will be. Like, I was going to say I'm surprised it wasn't flagged. It 100% must have been flagged in testing. They just didn't have time.
They just did, it was something along those lines. There are a couple of things that I kind of caught that they probably should have tested more.
Yeah, I mean, it's how much it's really just about when testing there are things which is okay, this is a priority and this isn't. And the thing is, trading it in works. It is functional. We can't mess with the functional thing if things are broken.
Yup, there you go.
So like that's the reason really, but it's just like it would have been nice if there was just a dial where I could like, okay, cool. 1 to 80, done, good.
Or at least like a menu where I can say I want to put this many 2 rings. I want to put this many. Like if they reused that for both the Elder Coco and the other Coco, the one that upgrades you for that like not transitions, trades in rings for speed or speed for rings, and just have it be like a slider, like left and right, and then limit how far it can go. That would be easier too.
So I never did that. What was it? Did it just switch what level it is for one over the other?
Yes, and it was easy enough to just kind of shove everything into one if you needed it, easy enough to shove it back. But again, it was that like one at a time type of thing. It took so long, it's not worth it. Just upgrade whatever you need. What I liked about that feature is that, and also just about the controls, everything is fine-tunable, including Sonic's perceived speed if you go into the menus. At least on the PC version. I don't know about PS5, but there is so much customizability in like how fast do you want him to turn around corners? How fast do you want him to go top speed? How fast do you want him to accelerate coming out of a speed bump, coming out of a boost, all of that fun stuff. And this one is he's not at his top speed, but he can get even faster, and that feels like a natural progression rather than, okay, just go as fast as you possibly can. There's a limit there.
Yeah, that's fair. No, yeah, I like that. I like that they've got so many like accessibilities for people, because some people might find it too fast, too slow, etc., which is nice.
Yup, and
so what
that's where.
Sorry, go on.
I was about to say that's where that Coco comes in with being able to trade out rings for it, because ring capacity also has that effect on boost. If you max out your rings, you get faster boost. So it's a trade-off, and I at least like that system exists. We just want it to be a better system.
So what was your worst thing?
My worst thing, because I did 100% on all of them, were the side missions. There were some extremely fun side missions. All of the music was a bop. There were some side missions that I had to spend upwards of 45 minutes on because the time constraints were so ridiculous. And as it turns out, the first 2 missions in the entire game, the time constraint is even still kind of ridiculous. Some of it just required being good at platforming. And for that, it's like, okay, I can press the homing attack button so that I can lock into whatever's coming next. And those kind of got boring after a while. There was one, and I can't remember which island it was. I think it was Chaos. It was a Sky Sanctuary-based one. It was all about controlling your boost in order to get to, rings, like the projectile rings that throw you everywhere, because you couldn't use light speed dash, and they were utilizing your double jumps in order to make longer jumps so you could homing attack on other enemies, right? It was all about conserving your air momentum, conserving your air jumps, trying to control all of that. The problem is the boost doesn't stop properly. Some of the controls, including boost and jump and turning, even when you are messing with those settings, don't behave as one would want to expect. Again, one single mission was like 35 to 45 minutes, and those things are supposed to go by in 2-minute increments. But because
You're talking about the cyberspace.
Yes, the cyberspace, the side missions like that.
Yeah.
But because I kept dying at like the middle of this 2.5-minute jaunt, and I needed to make a certain time in order to get an S rank, I had to just completely reset every time.
Yeah. I think I know the one you mean. I enjoyed the cyberspaces. The only thing I disliked was it was just the 4 areas. I wish because obviously the layout of the levels was changing every time, so like that wasn't a problem. But it was more, I wish it was just a different location more often.
Yeah, I get that.
But I liked it a lot. I thought they were really fun. I liked that. I don't know if you noticed them. Some of the level design was actually based around other levels. So
yep, I did see that.
There was City Escape in one of them.
We had City Escape, we had Radical Highway, we had Green Hill, we had Sky Sanctuary, we had there was one more, I think. Chemical Plant, yeah.
But there was a couple more, I think. I can't tell if I was just like noticing a similar thing or if it was actually verbatim, but I think I couldn't tell you which level. I think there was a level from Lost World. And I think there was part of Crisis City from Generations. Specifically the Generations version, but I don't know for sure. But yeah, like I noticed like similarities, and it was really cool. I really like what they did with that, and it was a lot of fun. But it would have been cool to have more locations, but it was more just it was whatever. Like the main focus was the open world, trying to experience that, and trying to make it work. And I imagine it took a very long time to get it to work because it's a new thing. And that's what's exciting for me. Like I'm looking forward to the next game, where assuming they don't rush it, they can iterate on what they've done. This is their first attempt, and it's a pretty good first attempt. It's only going to get better in theory.
Oh, yes. I'm honestly looking forward to, and I'm okay with them reusing this engine, just make it cleaner, make it behave a little more properly, because we'll probably get to some of the negatives. I have a lot that just revolve around the controls and some of the mechanics. But if you iterate on that, everything else worked so flawlessly that I am okay with them going forward and just saying, let's fix it and make it up better. Because from what I've seen so far, the next game may or may not be a potential Sonic Adventure 3 lead-in. So having a good system in place for that would be very good.
Yes, possibly. Okay, well, before we get to like specifics, what was your best bit? I have my joke but also not joke best bit, and then I have my actual best bit.
I mean, I think we both have the same joke best bit.
Is it fishing?
It's Big's Big Fishing Adventure 3.
It's so good. It has no right to be that's good.
It's a mini game, but like every time, it's just simple. Cast the thing, wait for the ring, pull it up.
It has one button.
The variety of the stuff you get, the fact that you can trade it in for like a lore dump. Like all of this, it was such a good mini game that coincided with, all right, here's the world being destroyed and you have to really worry about all this corruption and crap. Also, here's a fishing mini game. Big doesn't give a fuck. Have fun.
Did it ever explain, unless I missed it, why Big is there?
No. It's straight up. Sonic, when he enters, goes, Big, why are you here? Well, why are you anywhere? Anyway, what's up? And that's it.
Okay, good. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. But my actual best bit, we'll go 3, 2, 1. Rhea Island.
Titans.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. No, I can see why. Yeah, they were great. They were really great.
So Rhea Island for you. I would like a little more on that.
Okay, so I love verticality in games,
Mm.
and Rhea Island was 6 behemoth towers.
Yeah, it was.
It was so ludicrously tall. I love it so much. The first one's so simple. It gets a little harder. But it doesn't matter how simple it is. It's still very intimidating because if you fall, you fall. They do give you shortcuts, which is really nice. But if you do fall, but it's still just, oh my gosh, it was amazing. It's exactly the kind of thing I love.
Yeah, it's dependent on skill too, right? What have you learned going through 3 entire previous islands?
Yeah.
Use all of these skills to make it work. I liked that verticality as well. What we saw from Rhea Island is that it's the other side of Kronos Island. It's where you fought the first Titan, right?
Mm.
And what I wanted was a little bit more on the story side there, because I kept trying to get back there from Kronos Island after defeating the Titan, and they just take the spring away, and it made me sad. Because I wanted to explore that and see what was over there. When we finally got over there, it's just the 6 towers, right?
Yeah.
There was no extra story. They had an amazing underwater ruin right next to the 6th tower that I was hoping had like a secret or something. I couldn't find anything. I feel like that space could have been utilized in a more lore impactful way, or at least more of an exploration way, because I didn't even have purple coins down there. I didn't see anything.
No, I think that island is purely just, here's a lot of like story beats and here's just insane vertical platforming. It's strange because it's very different in terms of gameplay, but it really reminded me of Ratchet and Clank. Specifically Ratchet and Clank Quest for Booty, because the beginning of that game, you have to climb essentially like satellite towers to turn them on, and it's like 4 or 5 different vertical puzzles. And it feels very different. Doesn't feel anything like Sonic, but it just reminded me of it, and it was really quite nostalgic in a strange way. But I just loved it. I thought it was amazing. But you love the Titans, and I can totally understand why. So go on.
I'm going to go back real quick to your love of Rhea, because there's a reason I didn't put it on there, and I think I told you about it. The enemy that I needed to defeat. Yeah, and that wasn't the only time it happened, and I'm blaming the pop-in issue that still exists on PC, and there's no fix for it, by the way.
Yeah, no.
Is that the enemy that I needed to defeat fell through the floor, and so I couldn't progress because it wasn't defeated. It was at the very bottom of the tower. And I was halfway up. I think it was the 4th tower or something. So I had to fall all the way down, defeat it, take the shortcuts back up. But I didn't know, because the enemy's supposed to be there. What am I supposed to do here, right? It spent a little more time there. But
yeah, that's unfortunate.
That entire thing. But anyway, the Titans. First off, if you have not heard the music that is behind it, I wasn't even expecting them to bring in metalcore and Kellen Quinn and like all of these A-list musicians from this darker side of music to do the music behind it. So whenever I heard the beginning of Undefeatable play as I'm going up against Giganto or whatever the fuck his name is, I got way too hyped about it. Then it kicks in. You are supersonic, and we can talk about utilization of supersonic being a little bit too heavy in this game, but we can deal with that later. You feel like every single action has an impact. You are hitting hard. It is dramatic. The camera angles on all of them, including Wyvern, is so... It's just emotional with the music going in the background, the attacks you're able to do, and having to utilize all of your resources that you have at this point in time to beat the crap out of this behemoth while this music is just hyping you up in the background. It felt straight out of an anime. It was an anime boss fight for each and every one of them. You had a fighting guy, a sword guy, you had a nice flying dog fight, and it was, it was just hype the entire time.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I think like the first warning signs that it was going to be anime-like was when the first Titan grabs you and throws you at 4 other towers. It's like, okay, well, Sonic's dead. Like, oh no, he's fine. Too. No, he's totally fine. Not a scratch on him. He's all good. Don't worry about it.
Oh, straight up, I thought I got a game over. Like I did something wrong. I progressed too far.
Okay, I'm gonna have to just go forward just a sec. On the final boss. When you have to do at the very end in space where you have to press the square at the right timing on the thing and you launch into it. Did you mess that up at all?
I didn't.
Okay, because when I first saw it, I was like, oh, I need to button mash. And it,
Yeah.
because it was, the thing is, the needle was going at the same point for me, so I thought, like, the needle's not moving, but my thing's not going down to it. How am I not button mashing quick enough? And like, it doesn't. It lasts like, I don't know, 10 seconds, and then Sonic just plows into the moon. It's like, try again. It's really stupid.
That's kind of.
It's really funny. I'll show you the video. It's on so good. It looks so dumb because he's just like, I can't remember exactly what he's like. It's just like, it's now or never, and I mash him for 10 seconds. Boom. It's so great. So funny.
Like, I knew there was probably a fail condition for that, but I also looked at it and went, it's either got to be like he's in the core and then it explodes and then it's game over. But him just like
so
sunken off of the side of it, that's amazing.
It was great. No, it was so funny.
So
stupid.
Have you beaten the game on hard mode yet?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so you know the bullet hell then?
Yes, I
did. You fail that?
I did not.
Same. My buddy, though, failed it approximately 7 times and said it was more difficult than anything Nier ever showed him for bullet hell.
That's interesting. I couldn't disagree more.
Well, again, he's super into Nier, so I was like, okay, is this actually going to be difficult?
I'll tell you why I think Nier was harder, because the credits for Nier, this is a mild spoiler for Nier Automata, but it's not really, like, it's
been known.
Yeah, it's not, like, spoiling any story. So in the credits, you play a bullet hell segment as you, like, play against, like, the credits, so to speak, which is kind of cool. And basically the idea is the bullet hell gets ludicrously like Toho kind of difficult.
Yup.
And you connect online, and other people come in who are online, who are playing the game, come in and like lend you like health bars, so to speak, and they act basically, if you perish, they give you health and you come back. And it's really cool. When I first played that game, I did not have good internet, and by that I mean I had no internet on my PS4, so it felt impossible, and I did kind of like spit the dummy a bit. I got very like angry just because of circumstance. In retrospect, it's such an amazing thing, and I regret nothing about it all. But it was just like, yeah, that was so genuinely difficult, and I really like the system that this game has, where light takes out light, you get the big laser. Dark takes out dark, you get the big laser. It's, you know, it works really well, and I didn't actually realize straight away that if you are firing on dark, or the one you fired most recently, you actually don't take any damage from it. I thought damage. I was just,
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I was saying the same thing, where it's you don't take any dark damage, light, you don't take any light damage.
I thought I was just shooting them in time. I didn't realize for a really long time. And then when I realized that, I was like, oh, I don't need to be as reckless. Okay, great. So cool.
Yeah.
But like it was challenging for sure, but it wasn't, I was on my last life, but it wasn't like impossible hard. But I can see why people would find it difficult, because it's not easy.
I think it makes it more worth it, though, because the final Titan, we've discussed this before, is not the big battle you would want it to be.
Yes, and I think it needed more phases.
It needed more phases, and I think the end is a great like step up if you are going to be playing on a harder difficulty. But if you're not playing on hard, you completely skip that.
Yeah,
that entire bullet hell is gone.
Why. I do understand why. I think it's one of those things where it genuinely is difficult. Some players will find it near impossible. Like, your friend failed 7 times, others would fail 10, 20, 30 plus. Like, it's one of those things where you either understand how to play it or you don't, and I'm usually quite bad at that kind of gameplay. I was only good at it because it felt very similar to Nier.
Right.
I don't know what it was about it specifically. Like, there's like a billion of these types of games, but something about it just felt very samey in how loose it was, I guess.
Yes.
So it just felt quite natural to me. Whereas like Pac-Man, Repack, the original Pac-Man World, I found that really hard. It felt a lot stiffer. It just was one of those things where I wasn't very good at it. I couldn't get used to it. But no, it was fair enough. I get it, but it was a shame that it did end quite abruptly. I think what would have been really cool, and this is how I would have loved to have seen it end. and I think you will be like, oh yeah, that would be cool, because it would. You go into space, and instead of that Bullet Hell section, yeah, this is the new first stage for Sonic the Hedgehog 5, Bullet Hill.
You just get shot.
Sonic 3 and Knuckles, it is a 3D recreation of that chase, but instead of chasing the egg, whatever it is, you're chasing a moon, essentially. Sage pierces the moon, it corrupts Sage, you fight Sage. That would have been the best way to end. Because Sage is so powerful, and I wanted to fight her.
Yup.
I wanted to protect her, but God, I wanted to fight her. And I think that would have been a good, like, sort of ending for Robotnik as well. Because Robotnik was, in a way, sort of, he was liking fatherhood. He was becoming, like, better. Which I think was actually, it was one of those things I was like, oh, you know what? He would have been... Like, he just wants to be a dad. Like, he's angry. He could do so much good for the world if he just actually devoted his time to parenthood and making nice things for his daughter.
So Teal, did you get the post-credit cutscene then?
I did, yes.
Oh, okay, cool. I was just like, Sage is still back.
No, I know. But, like, what I'm saying is how it could have went is,
how
like...
it could have gone.
How it could have gone is Sage could have been... corrupted, Sonic would have been the one to take her down, Robotnik would have been angry at that, and that's what fuels him against Sonic again. Because he was sort of even, like, alliancing with Sonic, was like, I respect him, well, actually, no, he's pretty cool.
Right.
Like, so it's just like, obviously he's still a bad guy, but he was sort of, like, drifting towards good, just slowly and slowly. So I was just like, that would tear him away from it.
Right.
But that's just, like, that's my own, like, fan fiction. And then yeah, Sage is very much alive. What does the text mean that's been showing up throughout the entire game?
I honestly have no fucking clue.
Because that was in the promotional art as well, like with the first teaser trailer.
Yes, the only thing I can think of is it's the ancient symbol of the Coco, of that chaos race, of whatever it is that popped up. But there's no meaning so far, unless someone can find, like, the tablet from Big's Big Fishing Adventure 3 ends up actually translating it for us. That'd be hilarious.
Oh my god.
That would be great.
Yeah, was there two tablets, or was it just the same tablet repeated?
It's the same tablet repeated. It says it's the tablet that's got 3 different languages, so it's supposed to be the Rosetta Stone, right? And that's why it's like, oh crap, that'd be some fun connection. But I don't see anything popping up on that front yet, and I don't think we still know what it means. I think it's just a sigil more than it is anything else.
I would love it if it was translatable, though.
That would be
funny. Because, like, if it was like Tunic's got its own language, but it's not like the case where it's like A means something, B means something, C means something. It's like you have to, like, because Emil solved it himself. Like, you have to, like, work it out. Like, one character means like a bunch of different things, and like it's really quite complicated and elaborate.
Right.
But it's like fully translatable, and it's really impressive. It'd be wild if that was a thing they did for one tablet and nothing else.
Have big doubts. The other thing is I haven't seen a lot of that text anywhere else in the game, so it might not behoove them to do it.
Yeah, it would be stupid, but it'd be funny.
It would be fun, and it would be something to add extra. In regards to your idea, I do like that 3 chase, and I do like the idea of refighting maybe a more souped up version of that Titan with Sage corrupted or not, either way. But that gets onto the story and the way that flows. The way the story is composed and the way they're treating it, even in the gameplay, but most in the story, this is a farewell to the old Sonic fans. This is them saying, this is the new way we are going, and we are resetting what we can. Here's your last hurrah. Enjoy it, because the next game is not going to be the same. Have fun.
Yeah.
And it makes me so sad that that's happening, because, again, fans since I was born type of thing.
Yeah.
I look at it and go, okay, they needed to reset it somehow. I'm happy that Eggman is kind of this obsession father driven to bring Sage back instead of just pissed off at Sonic and things haven't changed, because that respect portion that came from it, Robotnik would have known Sonic didn't want to do that at this point. They had the more mature themes where they kind of thought through things more than, oh, there's just innate emotion that we're acting on. So that would have been a different ending to me. But I loved what I saw with, oh, Amy needs to go out on her own and share love with the world because she's been feeling all the pain that the Cocos have brought through. Like, everything tied together so well on that. Knuckles having the flashback to Angel Island and going,
Yeah.
okay, I need to go my own way as well. Tails didn't hit as hard because he kind of had his own growth from Sonic Adventure 1 to 2 that they kind of mucked up and didn't include in any of the newer games. So I think they kind of went back to that and said, we need to do something with it. But this was a farewell to all the old Sonic fans that knew all the old lore, all the old stuff as well.
Yeah, and I
it
guess
was
that's
great.
also reflected in Sonic and how his
Yup.
voice is deeper. It was really jarring for the first couple of lines.
Yes, it was. The voices being different in general felt off. Knuckles' entire personality kind of changed from this big, lovable oaf idiot to, hey, I'm kind of tough. I might be a little stupid, but that doesn't mean I don't have complete thoughts, right? He had a toughness to it that was still kind of derpy, but what he was saying made sense. And that is a weird new direction for Knuckles that I like, but didn't fully connect in my brain. The ones that still stayed the same were Tails and a little bit of Eggman, but even then, he wasn't completely hammy and over the top.
Yeah. No, it was just really great. I really just loved everything that the game was doing. Like, the story was really fun. The gameplay was really cool. It was so much more fun than I thought it was going to be.
Yep.
And it really did, like, have a huge blend of just the best of Sonic. Like,
yes.
So, like, it was, like, I felt like it had a bit of, like, momentum from adventure here and there. Like, I felt that it was, like something in, like, I don't know how it turned in points. I felt it was a bit similar, but I haven't played much of adventure. But it felt very much like Lost World in how you accelerate. Like, I don't know, just that it had really interesting, like, just combination of all of the best.
Yes, it did have a great combo.
And then Chaos Island was 2D Island, which was nice.
Yes, it really kind of was.
Yeah, every single thing you went to was just like, we're gonna take you into 2D now, and I was like, okay, I can get behind this. I was enjoying breaking everything and just launching from one thing to the next in a way that was not intended, but I can get behind 2D.
And then the first time I encountered a fortress, it scared the crap out of me because I had not unlocked any of the island. It was not in its spawn spot, and it just fucking anime teleported in front of me.
Yeah, that did happen. Yeah, that happened early on for me as well. I can't remember exactly. I just ran away, and it stopped chasing me at one point.
I wasn't ready for it, and I was, we had faced the ninjas and the towers and the Yasuras and all this other fun stuff, but when that thing just straight teleports to you immediately, I'm like, I'm not going to be able to run from this thing, am I?
You had trouble with the ghost the first time.
I didn't know what I was getting into. I saw these things around the island that you could, like, look at, but you couldn't interact with. I finally found one that you could. I hit, this is probably the start of, like, a mini quest or something. Click, ghost fight. Oh God, how is this going to work? Cutscene, rings start draining. I had about half my ring capacity at that point, and since I hadn't really upgraded it, I had no time to go and defeat this thing.
Yeah, I was in a better situation where I had around 700 rings.
Yeah, that definitely helped.
I got loads of time.
I straight ringed out because I didn't have enough time. The second time I collected rings, I went back, and it was fun. It was more easy. But, I have in my notes right here in the middle of the comments section, fuck ghosts, specifically because of that.
Yeah, I thought, because you mentioned it, I was just like, I don't know what this is. Let's find out. And I found it, was like, this is cool.
It's really cool fun. If you are at least somewhat prepared. I was not.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know what I was getting into, and I'd certainly had less health at certain points, so I could have equally had I could have stumbled upon it where I had no health and just been really unlucky. But yeah, it is very much reliant on how much health do you have, because you need a lot. But it was cool. It was fun. So you there were things you didn't like. Go on.
Oh, buddy. Again, I have a pros and cons list. We've covered a lot of the pros. There's still some that I haven't gone over, but let me just go over the cons list real quick. We got 12 items here.
Okay.
The pop-in caused issues, right? We covered that. You aren't really explained any of the controls, and since I was new to this, I never got to play Lost Worlds, but that was still the last mainline Sonic series. It had been years for most people. You kind of have to do trial by fire. The loading screen's the only place that you get it, and that entire tutorial area just gives you pop-ups for, here's information you need to know, rather than here's how to play the game and explore it yourself.
Yeah, there was some of the mini missions on the island where it was like, here you go, parry. I'm like, how do I parry?
Yep.
What the hell? What do I do? And I failed
like-
it, and then I saw there was like a little tutorial thing that I could do. It was like, right, okay. And
Let me
honestly,
go through all of this.
I was really proud when I saw that little tutorial because I'm usually blind to that kind of thing. It's the kind of thing that I never ever spot. Even it could be in the middle of the screen and be like, "Hey, jackass, press this," and I'm like, "Okay."
Right.
No, I'd never spot it. I was like, "Okay, there's a thing. Let's do that." I streamed the first island, and I had a comment. Like someone in the chat tell me how to ring dash because I did not know.
I didn't know either until I got the random tutorial. That's why I was upset because
Yeah.
I'm like, there's this massive string of rings. All I got to do is ring dash. Where's my light speed dash?
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, the thing is, it being in like hit the L3 button actually is super intuitive. It works
Yes.
really well, but it was not my first guess. It wasn't.
Right. It's the same thing for me. Again, I grew up with adventure. It was you either held down the spin dash button until it charged up, or there was a dedicated action button that would just immediately turn to it, and you used that for everything. Have it be different controls was weird and off. Eventually, you do get used to it, and you do have a tutorial like area in the loading screen to practice, but you don't get that for the first part of the game until you die and have to reload or something else happens. So let's see the next portion of it. No momentum physics. This is the one that killed me because you can probably feel a little bit of momentum if you are doing the spin dash down a hill. But most of the time, there is no momentum. I have tested out everything that I knew from previous games about momentum. I've tested out everything I could possibly think of on going on surfaces. There is no momentum. It almost feels hard programmed that you are either sticking to the floor magnet-wise. It kind of feels heavy in that sense. Or you're going off of some platform and launching into the air. And sometimes the platforms are ill-defined. I found a lot of rocks in every island that will just throw you 4 feet off the ground and spin you out of control.
Yeah, I did find that as well. It's interesting because it's annoying. I kind of got used to it.
Yes.
I could control it fairly well. Like it wasn't like super intuitive, but I did get used to it. There was like a couple of cyberspace zones. I was like, oh, this is really hard. But like otherwise, I don't know. It certainly could be refined for sure, but I didn't mind it. It wasn't that bad for me.
In some of the cyberspaces, I can tell like if you are just walking, you can go up a straight vertical wall. It's one of those types of things where there is no momentum. You are hard programmed to go that way. And again, I figured out how to control it as well. If you are directing yourself in an effective way, you still have your jumps to save yourself if you're going off a cliff, yada, yada. That just kind of got to me that Sonic has that little slight bugginess. It's no worse than some of the older games that had those bugs were besides, some of the older 2D games where you didn't have to worry about a 3D space. But it's no worse than Adventure was. It's definitely not worse than 06 and some of the other ones. So again, you can get used to it. But the fact that there were no momentum physics really doesn't make this a Sonic game for me because that's the entirety of the gameplay all the way up through, I think it was actually Lost Worlds and Boom when they finally cut that out entirely. And that's what kind of knocks a break off for me because that's what I look for in most Sonic games is being able to go uncontrollably fast. With that, I felt like I was boosting everywhere because your regular walking speed was so slow. It wasn't even boost to win like we've had previous criticisms. It was boost to get anywhere.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, Sonic's running speed, standard running speed, is supposed to be the equivalent of him walking for, like, any other game. Like, and like, the boosting is the equivalent of, oh, okay, I'm playing God of War, I need to run, I'm gonna press L3, and just like, run.
Go.
Like, that's how I saw it.
Right.
So, like, that didn't really make a difference. I loved collecting max rings and going absurd speeds.
Going absurd speeds with max rings, especially after you max it out, that was rewarding. Almost impossible to control at some points.
Yeah.
But it's still rewarding, and that is progression reward. You're also talking to someone that played Adventure 1 where the spin dash was broken from the moment you started the game. And that is still part of Sonic for me on that, where I just wish he would just go fast, right? And get rid of the boost. Just let us control it with like, oh, if we want to walk, we tilt the analog stick for it. But I'm also an olds on that one, so probably at odds with a couple of people there.
What I really loved about the islands, with the exception, like, so once you like clear the islands, you can fast travel anywhere pretty much, or any of like the stages. But like, I don't mind that you don't have a fast travel because what I love is like, say you're playing for example, Skyrim, and it's like, okay, hey, it's 1,000 meters. That's gonna take a good 30 minutes to travel to. That's really far away. That's a couple of towns over. All right, we're in for the long haul. In Sonic, oh, that's about 30 seconds.
So you never used fast travel?
Not often, because you only unlock fast travel in Sonic when you have the scrolls with for the Elder and Hermit, or you get fast travel when you unlock the
entire map and you get
yeah.
the missions.
Yeah, so you can't fast travel that often, but so it didn't really matter. Usually when I was fast traveling, I hadn't unlocked everything, so I couldn't really fast travel.
Right.
And if I could, the Coco leaders weren't that often.
They weren't that helpful either.
And if they were, in some cases I had found them, but I hadn't unlocked that part of the map technically, so I didn't actually have the ability to warp to them. But I didn't really mind. It didn't take. The only time I'd say it did take longer was on Chaos Island because of the volcano and stuff.
Right.
And there's a lot of gaps. And I guess the second island as well was quite because there's a whole cave system and stuff. But
getting to the fishing for big on that second island is where I used fast travel a lot.
Yeah, so you told me where it was, and I was just like, how do I get there? And there's the laser grid. When I first saw that laser grid, I didn't see it ever move down because I didn't look at it often. I assumed the minigame with the balls was going to unlock that laser grid. So I was just like, okay, this will be for later. Let's move on. So I didn't even think I could go through there. So that's why I didn't find it forever, because I never went back to that room.
Fun times. So, not until the very end where it wasn't what you thought.
Yeah, so it's when you told me where it was, I was like, oh, wait, this laser grid's... Oh, that explains it. And then when I obviously solved the puzzle to beat the island, it blew a hole in the wall. Yeah, fair enough.
Whole thing there.
Yeah, go on. Other complaints?
There are. So the side stories, while some of the dialogue is good, a lot of it is just kind of, oh, hey, let's get a little bit of character talking, and all they do is kind of lip service to what we may already know or is just a little bit extra. That's not the worst thing. The worst thing is that the lip flaps in some of those cutscenes look straight out of The Simpsons Hit and Run. It looks like they are not synced at all, and if they are, it's weirdly volumetric.
It's probably Japanese.
It's possible. It just looks extremely jarring. It does not look good.
Yeah, my suspicion is for the main cutscenes and the main side ones, they had the actors look at the cutscenes, and then for the others are well, it doesn't matter, just watch it.
They just recorded the lines.
Yeah,
I
would
just
imagine.
remember looking at that.
Or they spend more time. I don't know.
I would hope they'd spend more time on the main cutscenes, and that does make sense from a work perspective. But when all they do in the side story is talk, and the lip flaps don't match the words, something about that just strikes me as, all right, this is kind of just throwing it to the wind. And it was really just the fact that it looked like straight out of Simpsons Hit and Run from 20 years ago at this point.
Yeah, fair enough.
Let's see. The next one, we kind of mentioned that there's that dissonance between the voices that felt a little off we got used to. Another one was the characterization. Knuckles goes from being excessively hammy to kind of reeled back and serious, almost melodramatic, almost in an instant if you're following just the story and not going to side story. It almost feels a little bit of whiplash. I still like the overall darker tone and the lighter moments, but if you're not used to anime things going completely out of left field or that type of pacing, it can really be whiplashy. What else? I would have preferred a mini-map over a compass strip. Just personal preference.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Because there were so many times I was looking around trying to find, one of the Guardian battles, I was looking around trying to find one of the steeples. And even though it was right next to me, it wouldn't pop up on the compass, either because I hadn't found it yet or because I hadn't gotten anything. Even if I had a small outline of where I was going on that map, just like the topography, that would have helped out a lot more, because I could figure out from looking in the direction, even with the poppin' being as bad, oh, there's some weird stone, there's probably a mission there. Oh, there's a weird stone, there's probably one of the cyberspace missions there. But I got nothing with the compass.
Yeah, I mean, that'll be something they probably adjust in the next game. They'll give you an option for one or the other, hopefully.
Right.
That'd be nice.
The Skill tree. I like the skill tree. I liked powering it up. I had completed it by the time I was on Island 3.
Yeah.
Like, it was short. The one upgrade that was the auto do it, but take away some of your attack power made no sense for me to equip. And while it's great for approachability and being able to have the younger generation come in and play it, it really felt so simple, too simple to the fact. I would love a bigger skill tree to unlock that, because the combat was like a puzzle. That was great.
I have a second complaint about that, actually.
Yes.
I think I like that. I think it should have, at the beginning, you've got a choice of, like, I can't remember what the first one is, but I think it should have been at the beginning, you should have a choice between, like, when you get the first thing and it, like, it deviates to the side and that's there and it costs, like, 5 skill points, because if you're someone who's not used to the combat and you're not good at it, and you want to have an easier ride because, like, you're disabled or you're super young or whatever,
right?
It takes a while to unlock it, so you have gotten better by that point. So it should have been the first one, and it should have been cheaper. So it is for accessibility. I understand what they're going for, but the accessibility option of it is sort of worn away by that point.
It's walled, yeah.
It's a bit weird. But I appreciate it does exist, but I think they could have handled it a bit better.
I think they should have put something like that just in the options, because I've seen that in options menu before, where it's, you're going to do less attack power, but it'll do it for you because you just don't know what you're doing. That's kind of the entire point. Yeah,
or maybe it should have been there and it was free. So, like, it's there, because, like, if you put it in the options menu, some people won't know it exists. But if it's there, you'll be like, oh, okay, this is really helpful for me because I can't do this.
Right.
But if it's free and immediate, then you see it. But it was whatever. It was. Yeah, I did get everything immediately.
Yeah, it was extremely quick for us.
Yeah, but I mean, it's. I don't see how you couldn't get everything. I guess, like, you get a lot of experience from, like, when you get experience from breaking, like, barrels and stuff. If you get there's 2,000 in there, and I think that's like 4 or 5 level ups. So you get a lot of skill points just from doing that. And
then you unlock the skill that lets you do tricks in the air, so when you randomly fly off somewhere, you just trick it out and get way too many. By the time I had unlocked everything,
I wasn't getting much from doing that.
Really?
Yeah.
I was flying off everywhere, and by the time I had gotten past the third island to upgrade everything, I was at 99 plus skill points.
Yeah, but when I was flying in the air and I was doing tricks, I found that I wasn't getting much experience from it.
Interesting.
I don't know why. That it's entirely possible it was a console bug or something.
Maybe.
But I was getting basically nothing from it. It's the same with at the beginning. I was like, oh, I'm probably gonna need experience. So when I did the first fishing, let's buy a couple of experience points before realizing, oh, this is nothing. Like, I bought nothing. I've wasted these tokens.
The tokens.
But
oh well. Lord. And then I think the last two we've kind of touched on. The rescued Coco upgrade take way too long, right? Having to trade those in. And then this one's only a negative for me because I feel they could have done it better, and it was the bullet hell game being locked behind hard mode. It felt like that was the true ending, almost.
Yeah, it's interesting, because the final boss was cool, but not counting bullet hell, just like standard final boss was cool. Right. But I found it really easy compared to some of the others.
That one felt the most like I could just mash X and win.
Yeah.
And while that is true for, like, the other 3, you at least had to be cognizant of when you're mashing X, because they'll push you back. They'll make sure that that's there. This one felt like all I had to do was press X. I barely even had to move.
Yeah. And, like, the first Titan was arguably harder just because you're doing it for the first time. You don't really, like, you're learning to control Supersonic. But, man, it is so satisfying to control Supersonic. Right. I think that, like, it also, the final boss didn't have as big an impact because you're supersonic so often throughout the game. Like, if you hadn't been supersonic prior and that was your reward and that's the Titan you fight as supersonic, you'd be like, whoa, this is amazing. Because, like, they've never really done supersonic right in 3D.
Nope.
Unleashed got close. It didn't do it perfectly, but it got close. I'm trying to think, is it ever done? It's done in Heroes. Oh, Heroes is a mess. It's
Heroes
done in It's done in 06. That's a mess. I hate it. I hate it so much.
It's done in Adventure and Adventure 2. Adventure is just running simulator and try not to get hit, so that wasn't really supersonic. It was just the fact that it was a cool glowing yellow hedgehog in 3D. Adventure
Oh,
2.
you know what? I don't think I've ever seen the adventure boss. The boss that I know of is the one where you're running over water and the whole city's
Yeah,
flooded. Are
that
you
is.
super?
Yeah, you're super in that.
Oh,
In
I'm
Generations, you're not, but in the original Sonic Adventure, you are.
Oh, interesting. In my head, I've seen that fight before. In my head, he's blue. I don't know why I'm seeing him as blue, but fair enough. No, right. What's Adventure
And
2
then
like?
Adventure 2, you play it's alternating between Super Sonic and Super Shadow, and you are flying
Oh,
through
yeah.
space trying
Yeah,
to
that
beat the
one's
final
alright.
hazard. That one was all right. That it was still a buggy mess because you didn't ever have enough rings. The amount of rings you had every time you switched went
Nice.
down, so you had less time to make a hit. And it just got so complex with the amount of crap flying at you that
Mm,
it was its own bullet hell, but it felt unfair.
yeah, fair enough. I mean, like, I still think my favorite super fight is not Sonic 3 and Knuckles. I don't know if this is controversial or not. It's Sonic
Hmm.
Rush. I
Sonic
really love Sonic
Rush.
Rush's final boss.
I don't remember that one
It's
actually.
it's the music wrapped in black, and it is so good.
Hmm.
It's a solid fight, and you switch between Sonic and Blaze, and it's great. And we need more Blaze. Was there
Yeah,
actually
we
a
do.
reference to Blaze anywhere in the game?
I didn't notice one.
Yeah, if there was one, I missed it, or like I wasn't paying attention, or whatever. Yeah, I don't recall one, which is a shame because again, Blaze is like, and Sega knows this because they do try and like, they don't mention her, but they definitely like show her off as much as they can in the sports
Mhm.
games. So they know that she's the best character they've made in forever, but
In
they
a while.
didn't do anything in this one for some reason, which is strange. Even like as a passing reference, or yeah, I don't know.
Right. And I think they did the same for some other characters. I don't remember a reference to Rouge. I don't remember too many other references to some of these side characters.
Mm,
Um, and again, I think what they are doing is saying that's kind of the old. We're going out with the old and we're going towards this new story where we're going to have differently developed characters, different motives, all this other fun
yeah.
stuff. So I don't know how that's going to handle. That's another one of my comments is I legitimately don't know where the series is going to go from here.
Yeah, that's quite exciting though.
Yes, and
I'm
that's why I'm
hoping.
excited about it.
Yeah, I'm hoping that if this is the direction they're going, they do that for the 3D Sonics, and then the people who made Mania, they keep them on board and make them give them the time that they need, and they make more 2D games. That would be good. Like the blend of 3D and 2D, because a 2D game you could make every 2 years, a 3D game you can make every 4 or 5. You know, like they could do it like so every, they switch them out, and it would be great. Like I never played Sonic Origins. From what I've heard, that it was a mess
Mhm.
because they were super rushed, which is
Yep.
not great. Same with Sonic Colors. I mean, Sonic Colors. I mean, I don't know if it's been confirmed or not. I'm almost certain they were given like 4 months because they were like, "Oh, Frontiers isn't ready. Make this."
Yeah,
I'm
well,
pretty
it's
sure.
just the HD re-release that was having issues. The original on the Wii was fine.
Oh
That
yeah. No,
re-release
that's what I
though
mean. Yeah,
was just oh my god.
I didn't play it, but I heard.
I don't know how you didn't just up the render setting and call it good because
Mm,
the game itself was fine when it was on the Wii. All it needed to be was HD. They changed out so many things texture-wise, mechanics, like it ended up being a clusterfuck because of
mm,
their own undoing of what worked.
yeah.
So I've got a bone to pick on that one too.
But yeah, fair enough. No, it
Let's
was
see.
I'm just really happy that I got to play it.
Yes,
Because like,
so much.
I mean, I guess we could talk about PR. Like, it's really interesting because they decided to give the reins to IGN because IGN has their like IGN First series, and I understand they are like undisputedly the biggest PR for gaming, like or
Yeah.
biggest like news source for gaming. It's just unless I like every member of IGN commits genocide or something, they're never going to be toppled. Like
That sounds about right.
It's just too big. Like it doesn't like they'll get new members, they'll whatever. Like IGN will never fall. Like it's
Yep.
just too big. It will keep growing.
Big lumbering corp.
But the thing that's just really interesting is that they made the game look so slow when they played it, and
Yep.
there's what I would consider a very easy fix, and I don't know. The thing is, I don't know how it works behind the scenes specifically, and by that I mean I don't know what Sega chose, I don't know what IGN chose. So here's how I think it should have gone down. From what I understand, for that like IGN first month, they were given 4 hours of the game to play, and I think from the very beginning, probably all of the first island and a bit of the second. I don't know specifically how much, but I believe they did play all of the first island.
All right.
And they were probably shown a bit of it. If not, they actually played a bit of the second. Here's how. So how, with stuff like that, Sega will be like, right, we're giving you this much time, we're letting you play this much of the game, and we want you to not mention anything about this, anything about this, anything about this, because Supersonic didn't come up anywhere, from what I recall. Cyberspaces certainly didn't straight away. It did later in the month, I think, at the very end, but it didn't for a good, 2-3 weeks, because no one knew there was going to be, standard modern Sonic stages. Everyone was like, oh, this is different. So, fair enough. What they should have done is they should have got the guy to play for, 4 hours, do as much as that, and then say, okay, play again for another hour, record that hour, show what happens in that hour. Don't show this bit, but show what happens in this hour. Because at that point, once you've done the first island, you'll be great at the game. And you will be competent to do anything. You'll be going fast, you'll be showing off all the moves, you'll be free-flowing throughout sections. And the first gameplay, which was 5-6 minutes, did not showcase that. You saw him stumbling around, and you saw him climb the tower, and the tower's cool, but the tower was sluggish because he wasn't confident enough. He would just started the game. The tower was very early on.
It was all still clunky.
What, sorry?
I was saying that the player was all still clunky, still trying to get everything down, so it's not going to show that heightened skill gap of this is what can be done.
Yeah, exactly. And unfortunately as well, and it's still in the final version, there's nothing you can really do. It didn't help that there's just so much pop-in. Yeah. That was, I think, most people's biggest complaint, because there was loads of pop-in, no hype, and that didn't really help. But then, I don't know, every trailer after it looked really great. And just made everyone more excited.
The final one that actually did feature Supersonic, where it was the best trailer for release, that should have been Sega's first one to show off everything amazing about the game. It was the best trailer they released.
Well, I think that's why they didn't, right? Because if they show that first, then what have you got to show that's better?
You have a very solid trailer that can make it all the way through the game and get people hyped up enough to buy. I saw people on my friends list buy the game right after the trailer was released, but before the game released. They pre-ordered it because of this trailer.
I mean, it's also very possible that the stuff they show in that trailer wasn't ready.
Possible, yeah, I'll give it that.
Because when the IGN stuff was June, right?
I think
June, July, the absolute latest. I'm pretty sure it's June, because it was E3 month. So that's 5 months ago. A lot can happen in 5 months. It is
a lot.
Astounding how much you can do to a game in 5 months. I've heard stories from Mike Stout about Ratchet 3. 2 weeks before launch, Ratchet 3 was a broken mess. It just was. There was so many things that weren't ready, and it just. It would have flopped hard if they didn't turn it around in those 2 weeks. And then Ratchet 3 is the highest rated Ratchet game. Maybe Rift Apart's taking it now, but certainly for however long, it's the highest rated Ratchet game because it's an amazing game. It's nearly flawless. It's such a great game, but it wasn't 2 weeks before they had to go gold, which is wild to think about. Spyro Reignited. I don't know how much how much really went on behind the scenes, but that game did get a delay, which never happens with Activision, and I'm pretty sure that if that delay had not happened, they would have had less than a year, I think, to make 3 games, which is kind of impossible. The fact that the game works at all is insane, because I always like comparing Spyro to the Crash Insane Trilogy, because Crash Insane Trilogy is a lot of work. Obviously, you're recreating 3 games. It's very difficult to make it look how you remember it whilst also being new. And but the thing is with Crash, is it borrows a lot of level themes. You have the same type of level 3, maybe 4 times in some cases, in the game. So you've got 6 or 7 level types per game, and obviously you need to make the levels, but it's the same assets. With Spyro, every single level is totally different, has different assets. I think there's 400 NPCs, different enemies per level. Like, so much work has to go into every single thing. And it's also got mini games. You have to code all of those individual mini games. Do all that in a year? No, that's not possible. It shouldn't be possible, and yet they did it. So it's just like that. That's how much you can do in a year if you have a team that understands how to elevate what is doable. And the Sonic team might have had a case where they brought in a couple people just for the final stretch. We're like, right, we have something here. The building blocks are there. We need just a little bit more.
We need a push, exactly.
But, I mean, we'll never know. We'll probably never ever find out exactly what happened. Or we'll get a documentary in 10 years. I don't know.
Maybe. We'll see.
But it's, as I say, like, it's very exciting. It's the equivalent of Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Yes.
Legends Arceus is the beginning, and Scarlet Violet, regardless of how it ends up actually being, is the next evolution. And it's only going to get bigger and better, hopefully, assuming they give themselves enough time.
Yes, I mean, Legends Arceus is the reason that I'm going to be getting Scarlet and Violet. It's because of that entire paradigm shift that they had, and I think we're in a similar path here.
Yeah. But the question is, how long do we have to wait? Probably quite a while.
So, Lost Worlds came out in, 2018, 2019? That was the last mainline series, and Frontiers came out...
No, Forces was the last one.
Forces, not Lost Worlds. I think that would have been 18, if I'm not mistaken. I have to look that up.
No, it was 17.
2017.
It was 17.
Yeah, that's what it is. I got my dates mixed up for Lost Worlds and Forces. I literally looked this up before I got here.
So. I can tell you why I know that.
Oh, Lord.
I did, in my Best Games of the Year video, I put Forces above Breath of the Wild because I was super depressed when I played Breath of the Wild, so I didn't love parts of Breath of the Wild. So I had a better experience with Forces just because I was so miserable around the time. And oh boy,
you got slammed.
Yeah, well, in the comment section, no. Someone in my Discord basically posted a screenshot from another Discord and they posted one of my videos isn't that the twat who put Forces above Breath of the Wild? Just oh, thanks.
You not only are there negative comments, but now you've got that as your reputation in that circle.
It's behind my back as well. Not even to my face.
Oh God.
But yeah, so that's how I know it was 2017.
Oh Lord, but that was the last mainline. It's been 5 years, almost to the day actually. It was November in 2017 in Japan when it came out, and this had a global release.
Was Mania before or after Forces?
Mania was before. It was the lead up because the Phantom Ruby was the
right,
entire
yeah,
deal
of course. Oh my gosh.
So I think the next main release, if they give them 5 years, it still has the ability. I know Iizuka, the head of Sonic team, would love to work on Adventure 3, but doesn't think Sega's willing to give the resources. If this game and the next one that follows it sells the way that it should, I think 3 is actually in the future.
Yeah, it's possible. It's very possible.
That's the only path that I really have for this. I don't even have a potential timeline for this. It really is. They're waiting to see how sales are doing, and they're hoping to take this and use what they have learned in their other applications. That's all we've been given so far.
Yeah. I still can't believe there was a 2 out of 10 review.
That doesn't make any fucking sense.
Have they not played a truly god-awful video game before? Sonic Frontiers is not without faults, but it plays.
It's not a 2 out of 10.
No.
I could respect people saying 6. I could respect people saying 7. What are you on?
I could. Yeah, I mean, if they had a really bad PC, I could see a 5 or a 4. But that's a circumstance where surely, as a reviewer, you have a half-decent PC to be able to play these games. But, I'm talking about, extreme circumstances, a random person in the world reviewing it. I could see them being oh, my PC doesn't run this well. It lagged horribly, and this happened, fair enough. But...
the minimum requirements to play this game at 720p 30 FPS is an Intel Core i5-3470, or before I built my first PC back in 2014, type of i5,
Yeah.
and their lowest grade graphics card for that is a GTX 660
Oh,
that
that's
came
quite
out
good.
in like 2009. So I
Yeah,
don't
that's
even
pretty
think
good.
the bad computer's an excuse anymore.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good. That's a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
Like, if you have a 10-year-old machine, you can still play this game at decent graphics.
Mm.
That's the weird part to me. So I can't even justify that. You have to have even a laptop nowadays can run this.
Mm.
So
Oh, you know what we haven't mentioned? Well, you sort of touched on it in the Titan
yeah,
fights, but the music overall is so good.
buddy,
It's
this
not
game was made for
surprising.
me.
It's
This
not
game was made
surprising.
for
It's a
me.
Sonic game, but the music is so good.
Well, again, Lost Worlds was one where we kind of didn't have much of a music soundtrack. It was kind of copying Galaxy in that respect, that everything was orchestral. The only thing I really remember is the main theme on that one. And Forces, the only
Interesting you
song I
say
really
that.
liked was Infinite.
You mean actual Lost Worlds and not Forces?
Yeah, sorry, Lost Worlds.
Yeah, Lost Worlds. Yeah, no, but like Lost Worlds, I really love the soundtrack to that game. That's got some amazing songs.
It doesn't have the same memorability that things like, okay, we have Sonic Adventure and Adventure 1. You have It Doesn't Matter. You have Live and Learn. You have Open Your Heart. Sonic 06. You have Sonic's main theme. You have the Overture. You have
Sure,
Zebrahead
but
coming in on it. Like, they're titular
sure,
things
but
that
I think
are
that
tied to the game.
I'd say Lost Worlds as a soundtrack as a whole is much stronger than a lot of other Sonic games. It's I don't know, it has a really really great just a really great lineup of songs, but that's just me.
Again, if we're talking composition and how the song's quality is, how it appeals to the game, all that, yes. There isn't something that I can look at Lost Worlds and go, this is the song associated with that.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's also not something I'm humming to myself whenever I'm, listening to music, right? I'm not going to just go da-da-da-da-da-da the entire time.
Yeah.
Because that's the part that I remember. Versus this
Deadly
one, there's
Six
at least
theme is
5
really good though.
Yeah. Oh, the Deadly Six theme is a great composition. I enjoy that. This one in particular, though, I grew up with Sonic. I've listened to all the music. I know all that crap. This, I was not expecting for it to turn to metalcore. It is known for butt rock. It is a meme for butt rock. Like, that is the entire thing of it, is that it is punk. And whenever they brought on Infinite for Sonic Forces, that was where I was like, oh, hey, they went a little bit harder. Maybe they're trying to go in a more mature direction. That game fizzled out. I kind of lost hope for it all. And then they came back even harder into a music genre that I had developed a taste for and got really into and never thought would ever be inside of a Sonic game.
Yeah.
Specifically because of the age rating. Let's be honest here. Metalcore has a bunch of F-bombs and it's scary music. It's not something that a child would approach and go, this sounds good.
Yeah.
So I'm very surprised about it. It does. It works so well. And that's another reason why I put the Titan fight so high is like my best thing is because it works with the context. It works with the gameplay. It hypes you up in that way that I don't think most other music can.
Mm.
Plus, there's also, the cyberspace worlds flowing is still stuck in my head.
Yeah, the music was really good. The only thing I will say about that is I did wish that like there was going to be like at least one like proper remix of Green Hill or Chemical Plant and stuff.
I wanted that too.
Because the music was really good. Don't get me wrong. But I did miss the classic.
Yeah.
Or like the option for it. Like it would have been cool if there was an option. But like, oh yeah, you can have like the classic theme.
Right.
Because it was just. I mean, Chemical Plant, Green Hill, Sky Sanctuary. They're all such iconic themes.
Yes.
And yeah, like just hearing them, even if it is so many times, it doesn't get old. It just has some magical staying power.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
and that's another reason why I think they're kind of going with, oh, hey, here's your farewell departure. We're kind of moving on in a different direction. The music was a good way to do that. Now, correct me if I'm wrong on that, but there was like a leitmotif that was happening inside of some of the music for just the overworld that I swear was utilized in other games. It felt like they took some of the melodies from other games. I don't know which ones, and that's why I'm like killing myself about it. That's just strewn throughout, specifically Island 2. That entire theme felt like they had used... It was almost Legends of Zelda-esque, the way that motif kind of pivoted.
So Island 2 reminded me... I cannot remember the name of it. The desert level from 06?
Kind of, yeah.
It sounded very it sounded very similar.
Like there was something going on there.
Certain pieces of it. But I don't know if that was like an intentional thing or not.
I'd need people that are much better with music and that have done the research on that to tell me, because I swear they kind of mishmashed some other of the motifs from other Sonic games into those overworlds.
I'm not sure at all.
Because if so, that's even better.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I loved Kronos Island's theme. I love how it builds throughout, as you because each island has, with the exception of Rhea Island, which I fucking loved the music to, each had 7 movements.
Yes.
Presumably, I think it was after you get each Chaos Emerald. So it was just it was so good. It was so good to hear it build and build and build as the game goes on. Like, each movement is a good 7 to 10 minutes as well. Like, they're really long. So it makes sense because you're exploring the island so often. But if you did like I did unintentionally, where it's you get an emerald, you get an emerald, you get an emerald back to back, you're missing a couple movements, and you're missing a lot of what actually happens in some of those movements, which is really nice. They sound very distinct. So it is worth listening to the soundtrack to hear those differences in places. Or play the game and don't collect emeralds as quick.
Or buy the OST. Either way.
Yeah, but it was a fantastic soundtrack. It was a fantastic game. I was so happy it was as good as it was.
Yup.
I was very hesitant at points, thinking prior to it, just it's not going to be as good as it could be, is it?
I was trying so hard not to get hyped. Everything I saw leading up to it, the utilization of One OK Rock, one of my favorite bands, as the ED, the utilization of this kind of darker theme, bringing on Ian Flynn to do the writing, Tyson Hess being involved in the animation and promotion of it. It was the perfect storm for things to go extremely right, or for the entire world to come crumbling down. And I was trying my best to manage expectations and failing spectacularly. Oh my gosh. I'm trying to think of other comments that I have just generally about the game. First off, this game needs to be played on a TV. I played on a monitor. Right. It will not do it justice. This entire thing is a cinematic experience in many parts, and you are losing out if you are playing it on a monitor. It's because again, I keep going.
My TV is not that much bigger than my monitor.
Fair, I'll give it that.
My monitor's 18-inch and my TV's 30. It's just it's not that much bigger.
Right. Well, I keep going back to the Titan fights, but even the regular cutscenes, there is actual cinematography going on. Yeah. There are good camera angles. There's great color composition. Everything about it is very well tuned and touched. If you have a cinematic experience TV, if you have a projector, if you just don't want to be shriveled up over a desk so you can feel like you're sitting on a couch watching a movie, get that experience. I highly suggest it for this game.
That's
what else?
That's something I'm looking forward to when I move, because I'm gonna buy a 4K TV.
Let's go.
I'm just I can experience some games in this
actual cinematic quality. It
will be so nice. Don't get me wrong, I love my 30-inch 1080p, but it's also a 7-year-old TV, so it's kind of low 1080p, and it's also small.
My second monitor is still a Vizio TV from 2009. It only goes up to 1080, and it's not even 30 hertz some of the time.
Yeah. So it's it will be nice to evolve that. I'm looking forward to that day. Yeah. But yeah. So you were saying you have more things.
Oh, yeah, no, again, I have my entire list here. I can probably send you the PDF if you're interested. But continuity, we talked about that, all the references to the old games. That part made me think it was possibly leading up to Adventure 3, or that this was an attempt, and they decided to change it because it didn't quite meet expectations.
You know what we haven't brought up? Chaos.
Chaos, yeah, we haven't.
Oh my gosh, that was very unexpected.
I was thinking they were going to tie something in, because those remnants are always it's got to be some legendary thing. Maybe they'll bring Tikal, maybe they'll bring something else into it. And then they just went full on, no, there's an entire alien race from a completely different planet that settled here, and that is the predecessor of Chaos. It was on a scale I was not ready for.
Yeah. Did because I haven't played enough of Adventure. How did Robotnik get Chaos?
They never fully explained it. Chaos was sealed in the Master Emerald because there were
that makes sense.
Right. Ancient times, the villagers think that Chaos is a monster when really he was just trying to protect the Chow and protect the emeralds. They decide to attack. He destroys the entire world. Tikal seals him in the Master Emerald. And Robotnik, apparently with the help of the Chaos Emeralds, releases Chaos from the Master Emerald, utilizes the Chaos Emeralds to bring about his form that destroyed the world before. That entire thing happens.
Yeah, that makes sense.
How he got through all of that is just weirdly explained. So
yeah, I mean, we understand how Chaos got to Earth. That'll do.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's like, oh, he's just in the Master Emerald. We'll accept the fact that this alien creature just resided in the most powerful thing from Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Yeah, that's great.
Yes, we will. We will accept it forever now. But no, I was not expecting it. I was not expecting to just see, like, immediately, it's just like, the first time I was just like, oh my god, did we just witness 2 Chaos creatures get nuked? Yes, we did. What is happening? Like, and then you see their planet get destroyed so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And we do not feel that in the final boss, but that's okay.
Oh god, no.
But
like you get the laser and it just kind of goes off into space once or twice.
Yeah.
But like if you can move that across an entire planet super quick, you should be able to shoot me, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
What else? We've got the attempted SA3. There's my fuck ghost note. Yeah, I even made the comment that the final boss on hard mode is straight out of Nier Automata, all the way down to the, like, talking of everything being fruitless and, like, despair and all of this other fun shit.
Yeah.
The Assassin's Creed / Breath of the Wild unlock the map as you go along type of thing. Like, this is just a mishmash of other great mechanics that worked in other games, and it worked in this one. So I'll kind of go over those. I was also rubbed a little bit the wrong way with the ending with Sage going and sacrificing, not because it felt not as developed or not because I wanted something more, but because they kind of reused the exact same ending point for Shadow, where it's this anti-hero redeemed.
Yeah.
And it also had a little bit of Cosmo from Sonic X, the anime, where it's, oh, let me just go ahead and sacrifice myself real quick to make sure that the world is safe. It's a trope that they've used over. And I think that was kind of the point that they were reflecting the SA2 redemption arc, because, you know, it's an entire love letter farewell to the fans. Let's do it right this time instead of have it happen all in the final act. But it gave me that, okay, there's something being kind of rehashed here. It works with the series. Maybe this is just them saying goodbye, whatever. And then my very last comment is Egg Daddy.
Yeah. Egg Daddy is fair.
Egg Daddy.
Yeah, I mean, Egg Daddy's gonna be back.
Yes, Egg Daddy shall be back.
Sage is still alive. It makes me very happy.
I'm hoping that Sage stays the way that she is. I don't know how they're gonna. Again, I have no idea where this is going. I just don't know how they're gonna do it. And if they kind of retcon what Sage was here by saying he reprogrammed her, I'm gonna have a fit. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I don't know if they will. I think they might just go down the route of, like, I don't know, like, maybe Robotnik won't be a villain as much anymore, maybe, or at all. Maybe they will learn to work together and it'll be a totally new world-ending threat every time or something. I don't know. Like, they might go down a totally different route. Who knows?
It's entirely possible, because the main character stays are gone and we haven't seen any of the other ones in a long-ass time.
Because, I mean, like, if they were to do a 2D game like Mania again, Mania doesn't... that game doesn't have to be a sequel to this. It can be set as, like, the equivalent of Sonic 5, Sonic 6, Sonic whatever. Like, it can be just a 2D romp from 10 years ago. It's whatever. But bring back Blaze. But, you know, like, whatever. Like, you can... They can do anything, and it would be really good. So... But they should do Sonic Rush 3 like that, though. It would be so cool with pixel art. It would be so good.
It would. I'm trying to see how they'd implement it, because the entire thing of Rush was you had the dual screen on the DS to...
Yeah, I don't mean like the gameplay specifically, but I mean like the concept of like the two worlds. Like, connecting would be cool. Because like there's a lot more they could explore with that. But
with the Cyberscape being defeated, the other world coming in, that'd just be freedom, basically. They have a bunch of ideas. If they have a bunch of ideas, they can tie basically whatever they want into it.
Yeah, but it was great. It was great. We got to play a new Sonic game.
Yeah,
for the first time in, I should say, 5 years.
It was a good Sonic game for the first time in a long time too.
Yeah, I mean, Mania is still probably the best, arguably. Yep. In the terms of best 3D Sonic, I mean, I'm going to assume that this doesn't surpass Adventure for you.
That's more nostalgia than anything. And again, this isn't a Sonic game in the traditional sense. There's no momentum
No,
physics, which is why
true.
I keep saying like I can't rate it as a Sonic game, but I will
Right, so
highly
you would
recommend this game. This is
so
a good
you
game.
would say that it's now a different bracket. We got 2D, 3D open world. It's a third bracket sort of thing. You wouldn't
2D, 3D, and then I'd call it action platformer because it's not a speed
Yeah,
action momentum based game like
yeah,
every
fair
other
enough.
Sonic game I know is. Like it's just a
Yeah,
different genre.
yeah, I suppose. So yeah, it falls under a different bracket. I suppose that's true. Yeah.
So I think that's there.
Out of curiosity, if you're not counting this, what is your favorite 3D then?
That
I
is
think
a
mine's
toughie.
Unleashed.
Unleashed is good. I still dock it for the night levels. They just weren't fun for me, and the day
Yeah,
levels
fair enough.
always felt way too short. And that's what I felt about even Adventure 2. You only get about 5 total stages playing as both Sonic and Shadow, and the rest of the game really isn't that fun.
Mm.
The highs are very high, but the lows are just a slog. Adventure is still really good in that respect, too. Like, it's hard to rank that for me.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah,
I'd probably still put
Colors is
Adventure
actually
up
really
there.
good
Just
though, to be fair.
Colors is very good. I never got the full opportunity to play all of it.
Oh really?
I still like what I did get to play.
Oh,
Because
it just gets better as it goes on. You should play it all at some point.
gotcha. That's probably why I haven't been able to rank it up there then. Because the first like 2, I think, different worlds, because it starts out at like the entranceway, almost casino looking like, where it's just
Yeah, and
the
then you
entire
got
fanfare.
Candyland.
Yep, and those are the 2 that I've played.
Oh yeah, it just gets
And
better from there. There's
okay,
some
cool. 'Cause
really great levels afterwards.
Candyland was difficult in some of the right ways, some of the wrong ways, and the first
Yeah.
one just felt like, okay, you're getting an introduction. This is fine. Everything looks
Yeah.
good, type of thing.
Yeah, no, you get some
Everything else
really cool wisps after that. There's like I mean, I know the whole place is a space amusement park, but it's more like a meteor world. Like
right.
it's really cool. It's really fun. The level design's great, the music's great, it's all great. Yeah, Colors is really good.
I'd have to say the number 1 if I really have to rank them. I'd still have to say Generations. It's a good meld of
Oh,
old and
I
new.
legit forgot
You just
Generations
forgot about
existed.
Generations.
Oh my god. Yeah, okay, Generations is probably the best one.
Like it's just because it melded
How did I
so well.
forget
There was still a lot of
Generations
content.
existed?
Because it was so short, and honestly, it's kind of forgettable because they
It
retconned
is.
everything.
It's really short. It's what
but that's-
it's 9 stages and
9
like,
stages, 4 boss fights technically, but the 4th one's kind of not really
yeah,
fun.
like all like there's like what, like 6 bonus missions for each level, but
Per
they're also
level.
all very boring. So
Either they're all the same or they're all a pain in the butt. The vector beat mission was always just impossible for me.
yeah, but no, it was a good game. It was a really good game.
For what it was, if you take length as like a weighted thing,
Yeah,
Generations is probably my number 1.
yeah. No, Generations was really good. The stages themselves are really fun, and it translates so well from 2D to 3D. It's
And they
so
redeemed
cool.
06's Crisis City.
Yes, they did. Well, I mean, the thing is, 06 actually, as Crisis City goes, is actually a lot of fun. It's the tornado bit, which is bollocks.
All complete bullshit.
But yeah, like the rest of it's actually, I quite enjoy it. I think it's a fun level. But yeah, no, it is so much better in in Generations.
And my favorite level in that is still Rooftop Run because Unleashed is still good on the day levels, and they did it so much justice on it.
Yeah, the day levels are great because the thing is, the day levels are like, there are a couple which are like a minute or 2 long, but there's like the majority of them are like 5 to 7 minutes. They're pretty lengthy. They're really good when they are that length. They're really fun.
It's just getting there in the first place. That's what always docks it for me. Is I love the day levels, and it's the same thing with Adventure 2. That's why I can't rate it the highest either. Is because the highs are so few and far between.
No, I can get that. I don't really mind the Werehog stages. I've appreciated them more over time because I've played more games like that now. But yeah, it's just if you're after the speed, you have to really work for it. Unfortunately.
Yep.
But yeah, well, this was a big discussion on Sonic Frontiers.
Oh yeah.
It was an hour and a half. Didn't
hope
feel
everyone's
like
ready for us going off on it.
It was great. It was so great.
Yes.
I really
buy
had
the
a great
game,
time.
please. Buy the game.
Yeah, I had a fantastic time. I'm so excited to see what the future is like. I'm hoping because presumably it is selling well. I think it is selling all right.
Yes. It is selling well so far. Sega has been like, this is the best response we've had in a while. So
good. Like, so because of that, hopefully they're going to be like, oh, Oh, they like this. Oh, right. We should do more of this. I see.
I hope so.
we should spend more time on these games. Oh, right. Gotcha. we should try and iterate on this. And hey, maybe you should make a sequel to Mania as well. But hey, who knows? The future is potentially exciting. Please do it right, Sega. Keep it going. You've got good momentum here. Keep that train going.
Except they didn't have momentum because they didn't program it in.
Ah.
There it is.
They will for the next one. Maybe.
I fucking hope so. Dear Lord. Get the Sonic
it'll...
Utopia team onto it, please.
It'll have less. You'll go backwards at all times, just for no reason. But yes, it's been fun. Thank you everyone for watching. If you watched this far, congratulations.
You're just as crazy as we are.
Yes, tell us what you loved about Frontiers in the comments. Would be good to know what you liked, what you disliked. Please do subscribe, very much appreciate it. I'm trying to get to 100,000 subscribers. It means a lot. I actually have a second channel now in the description where it's my review stuff and my that kind of thing. You can check that if you just want the review stuff isn't going away, but if you just want that content, you can find it in a more specific zone. But yes, thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed, and we'll see you next time for something new. Bye.
Bye.